Well, the big difference is you don't have to go out and buy another replacement property. And that's the big thing.
Now, why didn't you want to do that again, Peter?
I just, been doing it my whole life, just tired of it.
I think one of the quotes you told me was, I had 18 problems, Brett. I didn't need 36 problems, right? I didn't want to trade my 18 units for 36 units. And I said, yeah, Peter, I don't blame you. A lot of my clients, they've made their wealth. They've earned it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And right now they don't want any more debt. They just want to preserve the capital, and they don't necessarily want to overpay in a highly appreciated marketplace, and they'd rather just be on the sidelines and wait until the market shifts. So take us to the moment when you finally realize, hey, this deferred sales trust could actually solve the problem that you were looking for. Walk us through that thought process, because I know when I first met you, you had never heard about it. And now it's this new thing that you're going to do, right? But take us to that moment when you said, this is actually going to solve my problem.
Well, I guess when you were able to show me how the funds from the sale would go into a trust and be invested in such a way that they could yield a steady monthly distribution, then it seemed like the amount of return coming from the capital was about the same as the net income from the property after all the expenses were taken out. So it just turned out to be, about the same income, and then minus most of the headaches.
Yes. And then what does life look like now that you've sold the property, your headaches are gone, and you're, essentially completely, truly passive from owning commercial real estate and dealing with tenants?
Well, I'm not completely out of it. I've still got other properties, but I just have more time on the weekends, which is when I would typically go up to Sacramento to deal with things there. So
good. So more time, more time, more energy to do what you want with it, and I appreciate you sharing part of your story. And so now shifting a little bit for what you're doing locally, because you're in Marin, California, that area, and there's a lot of folks that are your age and have owned properties for a long time, and even single family residential primary homes, which the Deferred Sales Trust works for as well. So talk us a little bit about the kind of your area and your neighbors and what you see in just the highly appreciated single family home market where you're a realtor yourself.
Well, I think you're right. There are a lot of highly appreciated homes in Marin. I think there's a challenge in that most of the owners haven't heard of a deferred sales trust. And so a lot of them are just hanging on to the properties, and I think are going to pass them on to their children rather than selling them.
What would you tell them right now if you had a chance to talk to them and said, hey, that's a viable option, but if you want to sell, what would you tell them about the Deferred Sales Trust or want them to understand about it?
Well, if you want to sell, then the Deferred Sales Trust is a way to defer all the capital gains on the sale after you subtract out the first $500,000 if you're a married couple of appreciation that you get tax-free anyway. So, if you have a $1 million profit, which, isn't unusual. Someone bought a house for $250,000. Now it sells for $1,250,000. They take away, $500,000 tax-free. They still have a $500,000 gain that they have to pay tax on. So this would be a way to defer the tax on that gain pretty much indefinitely, maybe even so that their children can get the benefit of the income from that trust after they're gone.